Hey, everybody. Welcome to Turntable Talk Beyond the Deck. I am your host, Josh, DJ California, and today we have a really incredible and awesome guest for you guys. We have, as known in the industry as DJ Illeegul. His first name is Henry, but everybody knows him as Illeegul. So, welcome.
Yeah, thanks for having me, DJ California. It's been a long time. I know we've been trying to, meet up and whatnot, but I'm happy to hop on the podcast and finally get to talk to you, man.
Very cool. Yeah, likewise. For those who are watching, Illeegul is actually in my area here in Western New York, and we've played at a lot of the same clubs and a lot of the same bars, and we've done a lot of similar events, and he's been around for a long time. But those of you who are tuning in and watching, what's going to make this a very interesting conversation is the fact that Illeegul is Laotian, and he travels a lot from here in New York to Laos, and he plays a lot of clubs and a lot of bars and events over there. So we're going to talk to him about what it's like to be an intercontinental DJ, some of the differences, the similarities, some of the things that go on as a DJ, some of the events, what the music scene is like and stuff like that in another country, because I know a lot of DJs out there, they are curious. They're always wondering, okay, what is it like to get out of North America and travel to other continents, other areas of the world, and do what we all love to do. So this is going to be a really cool conversation, and make sure that you stay tuned in and listen to a lot of this. So first and foremost, let's talk about you, Illeegul. Let's talk about how long have you been a DJ, and how did you start? Where are your roots from? How did you get into it?
That's a good question. So I've been DJing, so this will be my 10th year DJing. I started DJing in my senior year of high school. Before I was a DJ, I actually I used to kind of rap and produce, and even from way back then, like in middle school, I was making mashups online using this site called Jam Glue. I'm not sure if you've ever heard of that, remember that.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so me and my cousins, we used to make mashups online. I didn't really know what I was doing, but I ended up liking it, and then that turned into rapping and poetry. And then for our senior year, people needed a DJ for the graduation party, and since I was already kind of like the backbone of doing the music stuff and behind the scenes for our rap shows and whatnot, I decided to pick up DJing and found a controller, and then went from there.
That's cool. Yeah, a lot of DJs, they sort of kind of get into it in the same way. They start tinkering around, whether it's in school or college, they try their hand at producing, and they sort of just kind of gradually make that go down that path of going from a producer or a rapper or hip hop artist or whatever into being a DJ. And what's interesting is that the people who kind of start in that way, they tend to be a much more well-rounded and better DJ, because they've already come on board understanding music theory, understanding how to put tracks together, how to put beats together, things like that. So it's always cool to see people who kind of start in that way, and then how they've gradually gone into the whole DJ industry.
Right, for sure. I definitely do agree. Like any type of musical background definitely does help with the art of DJing. So yeah, for sure. So you started with a controller. Now you use turntables as well every once in a while, right? Yeah. So my first inspiration was watching Qbert videos and Craze, and of course DJ Angelo, and of course our local legend DJ Ease. Shout out to DJ Ease. But so I always wanted to aspire to be like them. So when I was watching how to DJ, I saw them using turntables, but of course, I was 18-year-old kid. Barely had I just started having a job, but I didn't have enough money for a turntable and a mixer and a Serato box back in the day. So I found this NS7 controller. Shout out to Matt Kalaki for this. Still talk to him today. I bought my first controller off of him, and the NS7 being a motorized controller, it's it's the best of both worlds. Being able to get used to what it's like using a motorized controller. And then I thought, okay, if I start here, I can work my way to turntables, so I can pursue turntablism. So
yeah. Now it's funny, now you got people going the other way. They started with turntables, and now they're using the Rain 7, the Pioneer, and stuff like that with the motorized jog wheels, and they won't even look back. They won't even go back to using turntables. So
right, maybe I do say it like the NS7 is like a very slept on controller. Even like that, like the Denon that's an SC5000, the motorized like jog wheels.
Those are awesome.
Yeah, those are super underrated back in the day. And so I love turntables. Don't get me wrong. I bought one as soon as I could, and used them when I was younger. But I just turned 28 about like 2 months ago, and I'm starting to feel with the weight of it, and so I did shift to using a controller again. So yeah, like you said, it's kind of funny how we're we have phase and everything now. It's so easy to be a turntablist and using turntables for gigging. Now we just go back to controllers.
Right. Yeah, I mean, for me, like, I have a couple controllers. They're actually sitting in a road case behind me, but I never use them. They just collect dust. I've got so many turntables in my collection, and I just use them at every single event. And, everyone always says, isn't it heavy? Isn't it a pain in the ass to move them and transport and everything? But the ones that I use for events and stuff like that, the coffin that I use has wheels. So it's pretty simple just to wheel it in and everything's connected and it's ready to go. But I don't know, for me, like I've used controllers and stuff a lot in the past, but it's just more natural. It's better for me as a DJ to just always use turntables, even though you got to deal with like the weight and the pain in the ass and stuff of them. But yeah, and then things like phase have come out on the market to really help people kind of incorporate that controller with old school functionality of turntable and kind of mash it together. I think it's great. And I think, going forward, we're going to see technology get better and better. We'll probably start seeing more controllers with bigger jog wheels that are motorized and sort of really kind of bring that whole aspect of turntablism and controllerism really into one.
Right. Like I was over at the DJ Expo last year, and I got to test the Cross 12, and that's pretty much what that is. And so like when seeing that, it's like the industry embracing both sides. Like, hey, we're still gonna try to perfect the turntable and support the turntablist, but also like see how we can innovate it in a way. And of course, seeing Craze use it live and whatnot just like blew my mind. Like, oh, you can I forgot exactly what it was, but you change the setting and then you have a direct Serato tone right into the mixer right from there. So it's super cool. But no, I'm envious of you, man. Like I would love to like gig with turntables all the time. Like you said, like there's something about the tactility of having like the 12-inch size record, and then have that full control. And then of course for pictures it looks great, like,
right. Yeah.
Like when I was like when I did jump around different controllers, don't get me wrong, like I love like the smaller like SB3s. I have a Reloop Ready too, but like if someone takes a picture of me DJing on a Reloop Ready, like it's it's a little jarring because I'm a bigger dude, and then I'm over here like scratching on the smaller controller.
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And, I think there is a perception out there when people see DJs using, either like a microcontroller or just, really unique controller versus a DJ that might be using CDJs or a DJ that's using turntables. There is definitely some type of perception that is out there. So I guess it really just depends on you as a DJ and, what you're able to do, because, what I try to tell people is that it doesn't really matter what you use. Mm-hmm. We've seen DJs absolutely kill it and crush it on iPads and phones and just a laptop and, controllers and everything that's out there. And we've seen DJs that are using the top of the line gear and turntables and CDJs, and they sound horrible. So, I try to tell people, use what's best for you as a DJ that allows you to be the most creative and the best DJ out there, because, the people who are on the dance floor, they could really care less what it is that you're using in the DJ booth, just as long as good music's coming out of the speakers and they're able to dance to it and have a good time. So, the tools, just like an architect or a painter or whatever that has tools that allows them to perfect their craft, we as DJs, it's the same way. And I try to tell people not to get too hung up on what gear other people are using. Don't DJ for other DJs, DJ for yourself and for your crowd, and just, rock out on what you have available to you and be the best at it.
Oh, for sure. Like when I was younger, I was definitely more in the headspace of like, oh, you gotta do it a specific way. But as I furthered my skills and I got to network and meet more people and DJ more and have more experience, it's like, none of it really matters. People just want to hear good music, and of course, your skills as a DJ just elevates that experience. And so it doesn't matter what you use; it's about how you do it. And
right.
So. And,
exactly.
And so So yeah, man. Like I definitely do agree. That's like just use whatever you have and then make most of it.
For sure. So you travel a lot. You go across, the pond and over into Laos, and you DJ over there. So let's talk a little bit about that. What's the scene like? What's the what's the music industry? What's the DJ industry? What's it like over there?
Well, Laos is pretty interesting. It's a smaller country and whatnot. So the capital is I'd say it's about the size of Rochester, I'd say. But in terms of like the party scene, like they're very inspired by like the 2010s era of like EDM. So like big room, progressive house, all that type of stuff.
Yeah.
And even now, like they're into bass house, but also they have like they get influences from like Chinese and Vietnamese, like they call it Viet techno over there, or like or Vina house. Yeah.
Okay.
So it's like they have their own localized versions, and they kind of mix and match with that. And then in terms of like open format, they're starting to develop that. There's a lot of DJs that's coming up over there doing open format, but there's still a market for that, and there's a demand. And so with that being said, like in terms of like festivals doing like EDM music, like it's great over there. Like people like come out from like the woodwork just to go party. Like they definitely party hard there. And like but in terms of like open format, not so much. The other thing that's weird in like Asia, not just Laos in general, but like it's the dance floor is like there's like standing tables there. So there's not really like a dance floor. Like I see you like b-boy like on the dance floor and whatnot, break it down. You can't really do that over there, like unless you go to like open format club. And so you kind of have to like take note of that and accommodate for that. So that's why electronic music works, because like they gather around in their group of friends, and then they can jump and dance around the table. Whereas like open format, you want to have more space in my opinion when you dance.
Interesting. So as far as like Western music, Western culture music, like hip hop and reggae and pop music and top 40, all the stuff that we generally hear here on a daily basis, does it generally make its way over there pretty quick, or does it take a while, or is there like a gap, something that might come out today that's new, does it generally start getting played over there pretty quickly, or is there a few months before you got to wait before to hear it? What's that like?
I'd say in terms of electronic music, it does adapt more quickly. Takes like they're about like it'll take about between 6 months to like a year or two, depending on the song and what works for the market. But for hip hop and like pop music, it'll adapt really quickly. They're really in tune with pop music. But hip hop, sometimes it'll take a little bit for them to get used to. Like realistically, I mean, they do like a lot of like 2000s and 2010s music. I mean, I think that's the market in general, but like they're really in tune with that. But in terms of adaptation, it'll take a little bit longer. I'd say right now, because they kind of get inspired not directly from the US, even though they do sometimes, but they are also inspired by like their peers around them. So like Thailand, Korea, Japan, stuff like that. So they'll usually, if it pops off over in those countries, they'll take note of that and then try to adapt it to the market in their own way. So
right, very cool. Now, obviously in Korea, K-pop is such a huge thing over there. What do some of like the surrounding countries think of K-pop? Do they embrace it, or do they kind of like laugh at it?
oh no, they definitely embrace it for sure. And like like I work with a dance company called Fang Lao, and they teach like everything from b-boying to like K-pop choreography dancing and stuff like that. So so like they whenever they do shows, they like whenever there's a K-pop like event, like people just flock and they watch all the people do the covers and all that type of stuff. Even in the clubs, you put a K-pop EDM remix or even like a K-pop song on an open format set, it'll go wild. And so it's I like K-pop myself. I don't listen to it all the time, but I do like it. It was actually cool going to Korea. I went there last year in August for only a couple of days. But what I found interesting was like, in my mind, like, oh, like K-pop is its own specific genre. But I went to this one club called Sinkhole, and the DJs there they're killing it, doing like routines and whatnot. But how they mix K-pop is they're just mixing pop music, like how we would mix like Justin Timberlake in an open format set. You know what I mean?
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So it just blew my mind. Like, like it's all the like a lot of genres and stuff like that. Of course, you try to like categorize it just for your own sake of DJing, but realistically, like good music is good music, and like genres kind of don't really matter. So
yeah. Whatever, if you got something that's coming out of the speakers and you can get people to move to it, like you said, it doesn't really matter. So that's pretty awesome. It's funny, because here in the States, K-pop it can be a challenge sometimes, trying to drop it and try to get people to be excited and dance to it and everything. And, it could go, there's no middle ground. It could either go really well or it could go really bad. So
sure.
it's kind of cool that, it's sort of a mainstream staple over there, and they're able to mix that in with a lot of like the Western culture music and open format and the top 40, and even being able to mix K-pop in with like big room and EDM. That's pretty wild. So very, very cool. Now as far as DJs over there, how here in the States, we know that the DJ industry can be really toxic sometimes. DJs, they just sometimes they feel threatened and they have their egos, and they just there's a lot of people who are bad inside and out when it comes to the DJ industry. Now, what's it like over there? Or is it sort of like the same way, or do people who are DJs tend to help each other, bring each other up, try to make each other successful? What's that like over there?
I'd say it's kind of similar. Like, I feel like in entertainment in general, like there's definitely the whole toxicity in how people interact. There's cliques and all that type of stuff, and politics. And so like there are definitely a lot of collectives. But at least in the older generation, there's different groups and collectives and whatnot, and then people will kind of stick to their own clique. But right now, from the newer generation, they're trying to break that, trying to be more collaborative. Of course, it's tough trying to break the cycle of like, oh, who's this and who's done to what and stuff like that. And so you try not to step on people's toes and like whatnot. But at the same time, it's like I know the younger generation, they want to collaborate more because they see the value in that. So
that's good.
So I do support that. But yeah, it's the same. It's in terms of like when I first started DJing, it's definitely like that.
Yeah. So that's good. I mean, sometimes you can see the opposite. Sometimes you see the younger generations being the ones who are causing toxicity and showing the egos and stuff like that. So that's good to hear that the younger generation, they're coming up and they're willing to collab and kind of boost the industry and make it better. So that's kind of nice. And what do generally people use over there? Is it mostly a controller market, or do you see a lot of DJs, using CDJs and turntables?
So it's primarily CDJs and controllers. So in the bigger clubs, they'll have in-house CDJs, like and then for the regular mobile DJ, they'll definitely use controllers. Getting turntables in Laos is really hard. Like,
oh really?
Yeah, like there's no like there's a Pioneer like authorized dealer, but there's like not an actual like DJ shop that you have to import everything from Thailand or Korea or whatnot. So
man.
Yeah, so and then plus shipping, to ship the tipping heavy turntables, it's gonna and import taxes it's gonna end up being a lot. So what usually happens is that the bigger clubs, they'll have all the in-house CDJ sets, but otherwise people do end up saving for like a nice controller and whatnot. Like a lot of people over there, they use XEs, and then like the RX2s and whatnot. So they definitely prefer like record box more than Serato for the most part over there. But I actually learned and like mastered like CDJ DJing over there because like I never had access to it, but like having clubs that have in-house CDJs is it's great.
Yeah, and it's funny because you've got a lot of clubs that are still using the original, the CDJ 800s and the 1000s. They just never moved up to the 2000s or 3000s, and it still works. And I went into a club not too long ago, and they had 1000s, and man, those things were so beat. They were so old and dusty and scratched up, and the fact that they even still turned on amazed me because they were so beat up. So that's cool that you still see clubs there that still use the industry standard kits that like the 1000s, 2000s, 3000s. So very cool. Right. Awesome. Plus, we know as, a lot of EDM DJs here in the States, the festival DJs and things like that they always use the CDJs and all their sets. So, it just becomes like a standard type of piece of equipment whenever you go into a lot of places, which is really cool. So, so what's next, man? I know you're doing a lot of traveling. What type of events, what type of big things you got going on?
So yeah, I got a flight back to Laos in a couple hours, but so I'm gonna be there for 6 weeks. I have a hotel grand opening that I'm gonna be doing over there. So pretty excited about that. I never done one of those before, so it's cool getting invited to do that. I got like a fashion show. I'm probably gonna be DJing. Still confirming all the details about that, but it's pretty much locked in. And then Lao Thai New Year is middle of April, around the same time as like the general spring break is. So nice. So with that over there, it's pretty much like summertime, like hottest time of the year. It's like 90s, 100s right now. Oof. Wow. Yeah. Plus the humidity is tough. So what they do over there is for Lao New Year, they would like splash water on people to like kind of cool them down, but also as a way of like having fun, whatnot. So a lot of pool parties, all that type of stuff. So so I'm probably gonna be doing a couple like Lao New Year festivals before I come back to Rochester.
Nice. So when you go over, do you usually stay for like a few months at a time, or do you like go and then come back and then go back? Or I imagine flying, I mean, not only is the cost pretty high, but I imagine the flights and stuff take a toll on your body, going back and forth quite a bit. So do you generally just go over and just stay there for like a few months and then come back?
Yeah, I try to stay at least a month. This time I'm staying like 6-7 weeks, which is good. But yeah, like I'm not a fan of like traveling back and forth. I know it's like, oh, he's like hopping around to like different cities and countries, and I'm like, I don't like the process of traveling. Just like, especially with like traveling with like DJ gear and camera gear, like like TSA and like airport security just don't like you. Like I have a bunch of cords and whatnot, and like plus like between like all the batteries and everything like that, they're like, no, just take everything out and put it on a tray. And I'm like, I hate doing that at every single like layover, back when I was younger and doing this, I would like get the cheapest ticket possible, and then where you're like you have to like check out and check in your bag and whatnot. But now I'm like, no, I can't be bothered to do that. Just send it all the way through if possible, and then have like the shortest layovers as possible. And whatnot.
It's funny as we get older how our patience gets less and less, having to deal with stuff like that. We just want to make it the most efficient and easiest possible whenever we are traveling. So that's funny. So yeah, man, that's awesome. Here you got a lot of big things going on over there, and I'm excited I've watched you over the years really come up as a DJ and do some amazing things. And I've seen some of the stuff that you've posted on social media, some of the events you've done over there, and just, I have to say, I envy you, some of the things that you do and being able to travel back and forth and doing all that. My younger years, I got to travel a lot, not so much, it's something that I don't really want to do a whole lot now as I'm older. And just, working in bars and clubs in general is just like, that takes a toll on you, because it's, and obviously the natural progression for a lot of DJs is to start out being in like that travel industry or the travel DJ community and work in bars and clubs, but then you move into doing private events and things like that. So it's it'll be interesting, to watch you, because I've seen how you've progressed over the years, and then seen, what the next 5 to 10 years will be like for you. And anybody who is watching this, if you've got questions, you can reach out to Illeegul. He's on just about every social media, Facebook, Instagram, wherever. Are you on TikTok as well?
Yeah, I am on TikTok. I gotta be more active on it. But yeah, I'm on TikTok. You can reach me out there as well.
Sweet. Yeah. So anyone's watching this, if you've got questions about being a travel DJ or intercontinental DJ, or you want to learn more about what it's like being a DJ in the Asia, scene and that continent and those countries and all that, reach out to Illeegul. He's a great guy. He'll give you some good advice. He'll set you straight, and maybe share some stories, but definitely reach out to him. Make sure you're following him on all of his social media. And again, if you got questions, he's a good asset. He is a good person to talk to. And if you are here in Western New York, make sure you go and check him out whenever he is playing any of the local clubs and bars and events. And if you are an Asian DJ and you are located over in Asia, make sure you find out where he is playing, go hang out with him, party, enjoy the stuff that comes out of the speakers, and you'll be good. So thank you again, Henry Illeegul, for jumping on today and chatting with us about your experiences and how you started and the differences between here and there and all that. So, thank you again. Safe travels, and looking forward to seeing all of the amazing things that you do going forward.
Wow, what an outro, Josh. Thank you so much. Hey, yo, shout out DJ California. Thank you so much for tuning into Turntable Talk. My name's DJ Illeegul. Peace out.